Welcome to the Real Estate 401k Show. Here are your hosts, Ryan Gertis, Mike Weinstein, and Justin Frederick, helping you build a legacy of wealth through real estate. Powered by the Recon Group at West USA and the Frederick team with Fairway Mortgage. NMLS number 625918.
What I love about real estate is there are so many different ways to skin the cat. There's so many ways to make money in real estate. And on our team, we have a saying that money never disappears, it just moves. And that really, for me, was one of the advantages for our listeners to engage with us as a team of real estate wealth managers, is because we understand that opportunities move. And there's so many different ways to invest, whether it's single-family homes, whether you're buying your first home, whether it's short-term rentals, whether it's mid-term second homes. But one of the things that we get a lot of questions about is multifamily. And I can spend an hour just on going through the multifamily transaction process, the things that you need to look for and the things that you need to consider. And I'll get into some of those. But what I really want to get into, Justin, is the financing piece. One of the disadvantages that we had, unless I was getting an FHA loan, if I wanted to move into one of the properties and then rent out the other one if it's a duplex, the other two if it's a triplex, the other three if it's a fourplex, is I would still, even though I was obtaining a conventional loan, an owner-occupied loan, I was sitting in a position where I still had to come up with 25% down. And unless you're buying an AB property, and an AB property in multifamily is going to cost you an arm and a leg. So a lot of times we're looking at CD properties where we're going to go in, do a lot of rehab, fixing up, and things like that. There's only so much money to go around. 25% down plus now I got to throw in X amount of dollars to get this property to the point of where I want it to be. Well, we've seen now a huge change when it comes down to lending and obtaining loans as far as down payments go when it comes down to multifamily.
Yeah, we just saw the down payment requirement for a primary residence multifamily shift down to, a 5% down payment is required now. So
as opposed to 25% down.
So really big deal right there.
It's a huge deal.
As well as, when we're talking about FHA loan limits are much lower than what conforming loan limits are or conventional loan limits are. So it definitely did push you into the C to D range. Well, the cool thing about the conforming loans on a multifamily property is if it's a 2-unit property, the conforming loan limit is $929,850. A 3-unit property, the conforming loan limit is $1,123,000.
And that's a lot higher than just a single-family residence where the conforming loan limit is $750,000.
And $1.
And $1. $750,001.
That's right. It's much higher. And then for a 4-unit, we're looking at $1,396,800.
And with that, with the conforming loan or the conventional loan, not only now are you coming in with now required a minimum of 5% down as opposed to 25% down, but you can also probably get a lot better of an interest payment.
Correct. As well as, so with FHA used to, well, they still do, they won't allow you to move in a 4-unit property if the other units wouldn't support the payment. Okay?
Right.
Whereas conventional doesn't scrutinize that. So you can get to a really nice 4-unit property for almost $1.4 million loan amount. I think you can make it happen. I think there's more options out there for you now.
If you are interested in exploring multifamily housing, we encourage you to reach out to our team. All you got to do is text the word multi to 623-AZ-RECON. That's multi to 623-AZ-RECON. Not only are we going to introduce you to my partner Justin over here, who's going to talk about the lending aspect, but our team of real estate wealth managers can walk you through that process and the pros and the cons of going multifamily. I want to put it into terms of easy numbers for us to understand. So let's just say I find not easy to do, but I like round even numbers, right? I find a $400,000 fourplex, 4 doors, $400,000. I would have had to have come in with $100,000 down payment at 25% down. And again, $100,000 is a lot of money. Now I've got to find the other jack to be able to fix it, rehab, and so forth. So now what you're telling me now with these new, minimum down payment requirements, instead of putting $100,000 down, let's say I had $100,000, instead of putting $100,000 down, now I'm only putting $20,000 down, and now I've got $80,000 to put into the property. It's huge.
Huge. It's such a big difference. It was very surprising. We didn't even know this was coming about. So this was very surprising, and I feel like if we can find these 2 to 4 unit properties, somebody needs to take advantage of this.
All right, so let's talk about just multifamily in general. I was thinking about this over the weekend because I knew we were going to be talking about it because I get a lot of questions. Obviously, if you're experienced in multifamily and you understand the nuances of multifamily, it's not even a process. You're just experienced. But when we have a novice investor, or we have that homeowner that owns 3 rental properties and now is looking either to consolidate or has saved enough money, and now I want to just go 5% down, it's a no-brainer. I think everybody should now be considering multifamily. But understanding the nuances of multifamily, it is completely different. It is night and day from owning 4 single-family homes as opposed to a 4-plex. Our rule of thumb with our investors, because we always get the question about property management. Should I hire a property manager or should I manage it myself? And we typically say, listen, up between 3 to 5 units, depending on your comfort level, where you're located, and so forth, you probably should be and could be managing your own property. When it gets to a certain number, you unless this is your full-time gig. But I am telling you, one of the greatest mistakes that you could ever do, unless you're retired and you're local, the worst thing that you can do a multifamily is self-manage it. I can tell you the horror stories and from personal experiences that I have, that professional property management, and it's not only professional property management, is you better do your due diligence, because not all property managers are created equal. And you can find yourself upside down in no time at all.
So why is it so hard to manage a 4-unit property? You would think it would be easier because they're all consolidated and right there together. So tell me one of the reasons.
So let me backtrack. It depends whether it's an A property, B property, C property, D property.
If we're going to do a D, I feel like we know why.
But because one is typically they're older units.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say not built as well, but they don't have the upgrades. Oftentimes, they don't have the appliances that a single-family home would have, and the amount of things that break. Because I find that people, and not in all cases, people that rent multifamily, especially that C and D type property, are harder on the home and are harder on the units, and then they oftentimes you're having to personally show up to collect rent. One time I had this 4-plex in downtown Phoenix. It was off, oh gosh, I can't remember what street it was off of. One of the presidents, not Roosevelt, but one of the presidents. And I showed up to collect rent, right? And one of my tenants, on her door, she painted on her door, which is my door, no money, no honey.
Yes. You took a picture of it, right?
Oh my gosh, bro. This had to be over 15, 18 years ago.
Okay.
And so then they will have more of a tendency to skip town. Skipping town and moving out of a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment is different than moving out of a 4-bedroom home.
Absolutely.
But collecting rents becomes the problem, and managing the amount of phone calls that you get. And like I said, if you're retired and you like the abuse and you're local, knock yourself out. But I'm just telling you, I feel like property management is absolutely critical when you get into multifamily.
See, I don't even want to manage any of the properties myself because I just don't want that late night phone call. Hey, my dishwasher doesn't work. Well, this could probably wait until tomorrow morning, you know?
I could go on with horror stories. So
Yeah.
there I am playing golf at Verado. And I get a phone call from the city of Phoenix. This was a 10-unit building we owned.
Okay.
And I'm on the golf course golfing with my dad. And the city of Phoenix is there saying, yeah, we got the fire department down here. And you better get down here because we're about to shut off the electricity because it was a newly acquired property for us. And the electrical, something was jacked with the electrical. And a lot of times these properties are so old, and when you have multifamily, the city gets involved. You know, if you got a 10-unit apartment, one person calls the city, it can shut down everything. And then we're just talking about an immediate $10,000 repair right there. And then the roof. Now they're on the roof. And there's problems with the roof and so forth. And I'm like, so going to your point, yeah, I don't want those calls. I didn't want the call from the city of Phoenix, but it was a horrible experience.
Now that nobody wants a multifamily property.
Well, okay, true. And that's not the point of this. The point is hire a professional.
Hire a professional.
Because multifamily can be very, very, very productive and can really make you money because, you know, the premise of multifamily is if I've got a fourplex, and then we need to get into the difference between once you go from a fourplex to a 5-unit building. But if I've got 4 doors, even if 2 are vacant, I still have income coming from the other 2. If I've got a single family home, Justin, and it's vacant, I have no income. Okay, another horror story I had. We had a 26-unit.
I love it. I can see your mind going over.
We had a 26-unit apartment building in Phoenix. And we owned it for a couple of months. Things were actually going pretty good. We had a 22% occupancy rate, and everything was going smooth. And this was at the time, remember Sheriff Joe Arpaio?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was cracking down.
Okay.
And he was showing up to businesses and hauling off illegals and so forth. And so we had a lot of tenants. They typically, people from Mexico, a lot of times go back down to Mexico for the holidays to be with family. They didn't come back. And so we went from having 22 of the 26 units occupied down to 6.
Ouch.
Again, I am scared.
That's just a rough day.
It was a rough day. But still back to the point, you always have, unless you have 4 units and it's completely vacant. And multifamily really, I'm not trying to scare everybody. It can be, you just have to know what you're doing. You have to know what you're getting into. And that's what our team of real estate wealth managers can help you with. And we'd love to have that discussion with you. All you got to do is text the word multi to 623-AZ-RECON. That's multi to 623-AZ-RECON. All right, so we got into the conforming loan limits dropped from 25 to 5% down. We want to be clear, that is for anything between 1 and 4 units. Obviously, a single unit is not a multifamily.
And it has to be considered a primary as well.
You have to live in one of the units.
Right.
But things change drastically once you buy something that has 5 or more doors.
Correct. Then it becomes commercial lending. So very different situation. More down payment required, and I don't know exactly what those requirements are off the top of my head, but very different. Interest rate becomes different, higher. So, yeah, I don't know exactly what that looks like, but 1 to 4 units is money, and based on everything you were saying about your nightmares from. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you from my side of things, seeing tax returns when it comes to multi-unit properties, these are higher income producing properties. Typically, even if it's a rundown residence, you see that they typically produce a good amount of income and they're great investments. Now, I don't think that a lot of people, and maybe because of your nightmares or your horror stories, your challenges. People don't hold on to them for as long as they do single family residence.
And there lies the opportunity.
Yeah.
Outside of one fourplex that I own with the no money, no honey, all the other ones, I had a 10-unit building, a 16-unit building, a 26-unit building, and I acquired all of them on seller financing.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's huge.
So now it's a matter of a manageable down payment and terms with the owner, as opposed to going and getting a commercial type loan, which at that time in my life, I probably would never have been able to qualify. So other people's pain is opportunities.
Absolutely.
All right, multifamily could possibly be where it's at, could be the next component to your real estate portfolio. We would love to have that discussion with you and help you navigate multifamily housing. All you got to do is text the word multi to 623-AZ-RECON. That's multi to 623-AZ-RECON.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate 401k Show. If you want more information on how to build wealth, click on the link or text us at 623-297-3266. That's 623-AZ-RECON.